Hi, Janine again, and this time I'm going to talk about trends. This is video 5 of by Wire Media Maker's Future Story project. And I'm going to talk about trends. I want you to think about trends in a global or regional context. And I use a framework called STEEPL, STEEPL, for social, technological, environmental, economic, political and legal trends. So you don't have to think about all of them, but you might start to notice some of them and ones that are important to you. It's the most important thing that you use this time to think about the things that are important to you. You don't have to cover everything. So it's important to understand these global contexts, as I said before, because they create the kind of world of the future. And in that world, you can find your own regional, local and personal space within it. So it's really important to understand both the big picture and the small picture. So what affects me and what affects the world. And so we'll go through these one at a time. So what are the kinds of social trends that are happening now? I'm going to do this really briefly, just to get you to start to think. And the most important one, I think, is the growth of social media. So, Facebook, Twitter, well, there's lots of YouTube's even a social media. All of those things where you get to actually have a voice is so important. This is a huge trend. So how is that going to shape the world? How is it shaping the world now? And as that increases, how will it shape? What will it happen? We're getting more connected to each other. How does that change the way we work and live? The next one's technological. And so technological could be about biology, about computers, about robots, about space, about energy, solar and wind power, sustainable energy projects. Could be about anything, any area, because there are more and more scientists and engineers working on creating the future than there ever have been before in existence, because of the level of education there is and the numbers of people in developing worlds who are being highly educated. So this is really an interesting thing. So if everybody's out there creating new things, or a lot of people are, what does that mean for the world? Well, it's rapidly changing. That's the first thing. And technology, one of the areas that I study, which I love, is neuroscience. It's about the science of the brain, how we can map the brain as people are thinking. We can see what they're thinking about and how that affects the brain. So it actually gives us a lot more knowledge than we ever had about people, about behaviour, and how we can heal people. This is really important stuff. So it's one of the areas that I watch. And environmental. So what's happening in the environmental world? Are we changing? Are we becoming more green? I believe that we certainly are. And there are things that are pushing us that way. What is happening with climate change, and what kind of impacts that will that have? And are we ready enough to start pushing the new technologies that we've had for a long time to change the environmental outcomes? So can we capture carbon out of the air and start to improve the quality of our lives? Economics. So what are the economic trends that are happening? Was the global financial crisis a blip? Is it one of the normal trends that we have? When you study the economy, we do have these recessions go on and off. We do have rapid growth, followed by slowing, followed by recession, followed by rapid growth. This is a long-term trend. So what is it? It doesn't change the impact of this. But if we know this, what does that mean? Can we change our behaviour? Can we think these things through? Can we plan for them? And so on. So that's a part of the economic trends to look at. And political trends. What's happening? Are our politicians becoming more trustworthy or less trustworthy? Do we have more information about what's going on than we ever had before? Can we connect on social networks to actually change politics forever? Obama's campaign in the US involved large sections of social media. Really great connection to the people and gathering money from people. So, you know, you donate $5 or $10. And that actually is really wonderful because it's better than obtaining the money from large corporations, which may have some strings attached to the money. And this is where the problem starts. So, you know, as people, can we have more influence on politics? And are politicians just reflecting us and what we're doing? So these are important things to think about. And the last one to look at is legal. What's sort of the legal environment at the moment? You know, what's the balance between sort of piracy and, you know, having access to movies and music versus respecting copyright and patents and so on? And what does that mean? And what sort of changes are taking place? And there are lots of changes happening in that area. But what I want you to do is to really just think about, when you're thinking about all these trends, is think about the ones that interest you. Don't worry about trying to cover everything, because that's the advantage of working in teams, of working with other people, of having conversations with other people. So you can learn about what they're interested in and what things they've noticed. And that's perfect, because we can't know everything. And so I just suggest to you that start to think about these things as you notice, you know, whether you're watching any of the videos or whether you're just walking down the street. What do you notice? How is the world changing? And if you take it forward into the future, what might it look like then? So that's what I'd like to leave you with. And over the next week or so, if you can start to work through writing some of the sentence stems on the PDF document I sent out, that would be great. Just think about what they are, and just free flow. Whatever you write's fine, absolutely fine. It's where you are. Just write it out, and then from there, leave it another day or two before you write the final future story. About 250 words, and gather pictures, and it could be drawings, it could be pieces out of newspapers or whatever, and start to, you know, photograph them and have them as digital images. Would be really useful on the day. And if you aren't able to do that, don't worry, bring them in and we'll help you do that on April 10, so that you can actually build these things into your story. Any favourite things, a piece of music that really means something to your future, bring that along. You know, all in digital version is the best, so that we can get to work and help you develop your future story that you can share with others and affect their future. Thank you. See you on April 10.